Hey, what is up, everybody? I am back. I am taking out time to study my Ftce guidance counseling terms for my upcoming tests. So again, this is going to help me just as well as it help you guys. I plan on listening to these videos my whole way riding towards the test so that it can stick in my brain. All right, let's see how many terms I can get out today. I'll just do it this way. Who created the psychoanalytic theory? And it was Freud. The basis of most theories of psychology and counseling involves from the psychoanalytic theory. Who views human behaviors as primarily the manifestation of biological and instinctive drives, unconscious motivation, and irrational force? Freud. Name the three parts of the personality as defined by Freud. I just want to see if that's how you say that word.
Name the three parts of the personality as defined by Freud. ID, ego, superego. Blend therapy aims to reconstruct the personality instead of solving immediate problems. Psychoanalytic.
The psychoanalytic theory focus on the past or the present. It focuses on the past. Name the 5 stages of psychosocial development according to the psychoanalytic theory. Oral, focal, anal, lance, and genital. I just gotta hear this lady say it because
Name the 5 stages of psychosexual development according to the psychoanalytic theory. Oral, phallic, anal, latency, genital.
Psychopathology results in failing to meet one or more critical development tasks or becoming fixated at any early level of development. That's psychopathology. Oh my gosh, it can me. Let's see what this one is.
Neurotic personality. Incomplete resolution of one of the stages of psychosexual development.
Psychodynamic theory, which stemmed from psychoanalytic theory. The goal of these theories is to help the client become more aware of the conscious as well as to strengthen the ego system. So behavior is based upon reality. Name a psychodynamic theory. A few of them are ego psychology, attached theory, object relation, psychosocial theory, analytic psychology, and interpersonal therapy. Objects relations theory, Margaret Mueller. Gotta make sure I'm saying her name right.
Objects relations theory. This theory focuses upon predetermined stages of development in which the child focuses less and less upon self and begins to see the world in relation to others. Abreaction. The emotional reliving of past painful experiences.
Anxiety. The result of repressing threatening thoughts or feelings. Borderline personality disorder, is the pathology that develops when an individual fails to adequately develop in the separation, individual phase characterization, instability, self-destruction, impulsive anger, and extreme mood swings. Compensation is an ego defense mechanism that helps develop positive traits to make up for individual limitations. Countertransference is a reaction towards the client by the therapist that can interfere with objectivity. Denial, the distortion of reality in an attempt to avoid dealing with a particular situation. Displacement, the tendency to point one's energy towards another person or object in order to reduce one's anxiety. Ego, the part of the personality that meditates the unconscious instances and the environment. Ego defense mechanism, the unconscious process that operates to protect the individual from threatening and anxiety producing feeling, thoughts, and impulses. Examples include displacement, denial, repression, and rationalization. Ego psychology, a theory of ego development reflecting different stages of life. Electra complex is the unconscious sexual feelings of a daughter towards her father, coupled with hostility towards her mother.
Electra complex. The unconscious sexual feelings of a daughter toward her father coupled with hostility toward her mother.
Free association, the technique of permitting the client to say whatever comes to mind without censor. Fixation, the process of getting stuck at a particular stage of psychosexual development. Id, part of the personality that is ruled by the pleasure principle, center of instances which are largely unconscious. Interpretation, a technique of the therapist to explain a particular event or behavior. Interjection, an id defense mechanism where the client takes on a behavior learned from another. Narcissistic personality disorder, a personality disorder characterized by extreme self-love and extravagant senses of self-importance and an explosive attitude towards another.
Narcissistic personality disorder. A personality disorder characterized by extreme self-love, an exaggerated sense of self-importance, and an explosive attitude toward others. Oedipus complex. The unconscious sexual feelings of a son toward his mother coupled with hostility toward his father.
So that was
Oedipus complex. The unconscious sexual feelings of a son toward his mother coupled with hostility toward his father.
And then it's the other one, Electra complex.
Electra complex. The unconscious sexual feelings of a daughter toward her father coupled with hostility toward her mother.
So we have Electra complex, and then we have the Oedipus complex, which are similar. Projection, the tendency on the part of the client to attribute to others the qualities that are unacceptable in his or her own personalities. Psychic energy, the drive that propels a person's behavior in a physical functioning. Reaction formation, an ego defense mechanism where a client strives to hide a social unacceptable thought or feeling with behaviors that is considered appropriate. Regression, an ego defense mechanism of reverting to a less mature stage of development. Repression, the conscious act of pushing unacceptable or painful experience in the unconscious. Resistance, the client's unwillingness to share feelings or to make changes in order for the psychoanalytic process to be successful. Subulation, the process of redirecting sexual and other biological energies into socially acceptable and creative avenues. Superego, the part of the personality that determines what is right and wrong and strives to be good. I want to know what this word is.
Symbiosis.
Symbiosis.
A relationship between two individuals that is advantageous or necessary to both. Symbiosis. A relationship between two individuals that is advantageous or necessary to both.
A relationship to two individuals that is advantageous or necessary to both. The transference, the fostering of emotions originally experienced towards one individual upon another. Individuals not connected with the original experience. Erik Erikson, Psychosocial theory. He focuses on developmental tasks. Basic trust versus basic mistrust. Birth to approximately 18 months of age. The infant's needs for nourishment and care are satisfied. The response to these needs must be consistent so that the infant develops a sense of trust and attachment to one or two adults. Mistrust results if the infant's needs are not met. Autonomy versus shame and doubt. 18 to 30 months of age, the child develops early sense of independence and a measure of some control over the environment. The independence is manifested by self-feeding, dressing, toileting, and etc. In this stage, the child needs reassurance and support from the adults around him or her. Overprotection should be avoided. Intuitive versus guilt. This is 2.5 to 5 years old. The child develops an imagination and enjoys play acting adult roles. The child is also learning to perform adult roles and begin to realize restraints are necessary. A pervasive sense of guilt occurs if the child is not successful in imitating everyday activities and tasks. Industry versus inferiority, elementary and middle school years. The child becomes curious with the needs to explore and manipulate the environment around him or her. Competency is reached through accomplishments, the child becomes increasingly aware of the interactions with others in the school and neighborhood. If a sense of adequacy is not acquired during this stage, feelings of inferiority occurs. Identity versus role confusion. Adolescence. The child is striving for an identity and a sense of self-worth. Adolescents seek to formulate their own value, beliefs, and skills of life. They experiment with different lifestyles. If previous stages have not been resolved satisfactorily, the task may reoccur here as developmental problems. Resolving unfinished business is one of the major tasks of an adolescent. Intimacy versus isolation. This struggle occurs during young adult. The adult becomes willingly to be open about self and to commit to a close personal relationship.
Generativity versus stagnation. Maturity is achieved. The task here is to establish and guide the next generation and come to terms with one's dreams and accomplishments.
Ego entirety versus despair. This stage occurs during later life. Despair may be experienced by elderly if ego integrity is not obtained. When successfully people have a sense of fulfillment about their lives. Adlerian theory. It concentrated upon the psychosocial aspects of human nature. He developed that people are in control of their lives, thus creating an individual lifestyle at an early age. Adlerian theory. Adlerian theory called his approach individual psychology. In contrast to Freud, Adler, he felt the conscious rather than unconscious was the core of personality theory. He did not believe in reliving childhood experiences, but instead using these early recollections as clues to understand the lifestyle of the individuals. Humanistic theories. It stemmed from the Adlerian theory, and the main goal is confronting basic mistakes and assumptions that the client had made and attempting to redirect them. The focus is on examining the beliefs of the client as expressed by his or her behavior. Adlerians are concerned with helping clients change their beliefs, mistakes by aiding them in developing positive attitudes and in learning to help them correct their mistakes. 4 phases of the therapeutic process of the Adlerian theory. Establishment of the therapeutic relationship, analysis and assessment, lifestyle assessment, insight and reorientation. Key concepts in the Adlerian theory. Childhood experiences are not as crucial in themselves as in the attitude towards these experiences. All people have a lifestyle, none of which are the same. Lifestyle is set by age 5 and is a reaction to the perceived inferiority. Lifestyle is learned from early family interactions. Behaviors is motivated by social needs and has a goal oriented direction. Avoiding traps. The therapist's efforts to avoid reinforcing client disruptions, behaviors, and patterns. Basic mistakes. Self-defending beliefs, such as an extreme need for security, unattainable goals, and doubting one's worth, which influenced the formation of one's personality. Catching oneself. The process of the client is to become more aware of self-destructive behavior, irrational thoughts, and the anticipation of events before they happen. Conventions, the results of life experiences. Encouragement, the process used in therapy to help clients reach realistic goals by using all their resources, recognizing their positive traits, and transforming negative traits into positive assets. Family consultations are pictures of family dynamics and relationships. Fictional finalism, the idea, image one sees oneself becoming, one's ultimate goal. Holism, the view of one's personality as a whole. Imminence, let me see what this word is.
Immediacy.
Immediacy.
Dealing with the present moment in the counseling process.
Dealing with the present moment in the counseling process. Individual psychology, the uniqueness, the unity of the individual. Inferiority feelings, the negative feelings one has about oneself. These feelings can be both real and imagined. Motivational modification, the therapist's interest in helping clients to want to change their negative lifestyle, goals, and challenges their basic negative concepts. Paradoxal intention, the technique that is characterized by helping the client invoke extra aggravated, deliberating thoughts and behaviors, helping the client accept and conquer his or her resistance, thus becoming more aware of his or her behavior and being responsible for the consequences of their behavior.
Phenomenological orientation, the technique of the therapist that attempts to view the world from the client's point of view.
Phenomenological orientation, the technique of the therapist that attempts to view the world from the client's point of view. Private logic, the central psychological framework of the client, the philosophy upon which one bases one lifestyle, including basis or basic mistakes and faulty assumptions that often do not conform the reality. Push button, a technique that teaches the client that he/she can control their thoughts and feelings.